Journey from Failure to Success. Stoic Tips for Real Life. Daily Stoic. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. Hey everyone, welcome back to Stoic in Your Life. Today, we're diving deep into the journey from failure to success. We'll explore how Stoic principles can transform setbacks into stepping stones, showing you how to turn adversity into an opportunity for growth. Whether it's bouncing back from failure or mastering resilience, we've got practical Stoic tips to help you succeed in real life. In today's episode, we're building on the lessons from our previous videos. If you're new here or missed any of the past episodes, don't worry. You can find the full playlist at the end of this video. These aren't just random tips, they're part of a daily, life-changing approach. So, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you won't miss any future content. If you're ready to embrace the journey from failure to success, hit that like button, sit back, and let's get started. 1. Life as a battle arena. When we talk about Stoicism, we often speak about life in terms of a series of challenges, and if you think about it, life truly is like a battle arena. Each day presents new struggles, unexpected blows, and moments of hardship. But how you face those battles is what defines you. The Stoics believed that the essence of a man isn't found in avoiding difficulty, but in how he stands firm in the face of adversity. We all have our personal battlegrounds, whether it's in our career, personal relationships, or internal struggles. And like a seasoned warrior, you must arm yourself not with weapons, but with resilience, mental clarity, and discipline. Today's journey is about equipping you with the mindset to not only endure these battles, but to rise victoriously. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote perfectly encapsulates the core of today's message. Life will inevitably throw obstacles your way: failure, disappointment, even heartbreak. These challenges are a part of life's natural order, and they will come no matter how much you plan or prepare. But, as Epictetus teaches us, the power lies in our response. You might not be able to control the world around you, but you have full control over your reaction, and that's where your strength lies. Imagine a boxer in the ring. The punches will come, but whether or not he stays on his feet depends on his training, his mindset, and his ability to remain calm under pressure. In life, we are all fighters in our own battle arenas, and the Stoic mindset is your training ground. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who led his empire through war, disease, and political instability. Despite the overwhelming challenges he faced as a leader, he never wavered in his Stoic approach to life. He saw these hardships as tests of his resilience and character. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the very obstacles you face in life are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. The battles you fight can either break you or build you, and that choice is entirely up to you. It's not the size of the obstacle that matters, it's your willingness to use it as a stepping stone. So the next time you encounter a challenge, don't see it as the end of your journey. See it as the beginning of a new chapter, one where you emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. In modern life, these battles may not involve swords and shields, but they can be just as brutal. You may face the battle of losing a job, the failure of a business, or the end of a long-term relationship. Each of these moments can feel like a crushing blow, and many men feel defeated before they even get the chance to fight back. But here's the key. Stoicism teaches us that life's real strength comes from within. You can lose everything on the outside: money, status, relationships. But if you maintain your inner strength and composure, you haven't truly lost. This is the Stoic way, and it's something that every man needs to carry with him through life. Ask yourself, when life knocks you down, are you willing to stand back up and fight, or do you let defeat define you? The battles we face in modern life can seem overwhelming, but they are the very things that shape us into the men we are meant to become. Let me share a modern example that embodies this philosophy. Think of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Before becoming one of the most successful actors and entrepreneurs in the world, he faced his own battles. After being cut from his dream of playing in the NFL and facing severe financial hardship, he could have easily given up. But instead, Johnson used this setback as a catalyst for change. He redirected his energy into professional wrestling, which led to a career in Hollywood, and eventually, to becoming a globally recognized success story. The Rock's life is a prime example of how setbacks, when viewed with the right mindset, can be the fuel for future success. He didn't let his failure in football define him. Instead, he used it as a stepping stone to build an even greater legacy. This is exactly what Marcus Aurelius meant by, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Now, take a moment to think about the battles in your life. Maybe you've faced professional setbacks that have left you feeling stuck. Perhaps you've experienced failures that make you question your worth. The Stoic mindset encourages you to see these moments not as defeats, but as opportunities for growth. When you fail at something, ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I use this experience to become better? This shift in perspective is powerful. It takes you from a place of defeat to a place of empowerment. And in this battle arena of life, empowerment is everything. With this mindset, every failure becomes a lesson, every setback becomes a chance to grow stronger, and every obstacle becomes a new path forward. I want to leave you with a message. Life is a series of battles, but victory isn't about avoiding the fight. It's about showing up every day, ready to face whatever comes your way. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies in our ability to face adversity head-on, with courage and resilience. So next time life throws a punch, don't back down. Remember the words of Seneca, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." The struggles you face today will make you stronger tomorrow. Keep fighting, keep growing, and never forget, the battle arena of life is where your true character is forged. 2. The backup strategy. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Life is unpredictable. Even when we carefully plan every detail, things often go off course. This is why Stoicism teaches us the importance of having a backup strategy, not just as a plan B, but as a mindset. The backup strategy isn't just about having a fallback in case things go wrong. It's about being mentally prepared for life's inevitable challenges. We know life doesn't always go according to plan, but that doesn't mean we should crumble at the first sign of difficulty. As the Stoics remind us, it's not about controlling everything around us, but how we respond when things don't turn out as expected. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself facing an unexpected hurdle? And how often did you feel lost, unsure of what to do next? That's where the backup strategy comes in. It's your mental shield, a way to pivot and adapt when the path you originally took is no longer available. One of the key lessons from Stoicism is to accept that things will go wrong. But it's not enough to just know this intellectually. You have to internalize it and use it to your advantage. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As a Roman emperor, he faced unimaginable challenges, wars, plagues, political turmoil, and yet, he always had a plan for when things didn't go his way. His strength didn't come from his control over external events, but from his ability to adapt. His famous quote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way," illustrates this perfectly. What seems like a roadblock is often the very thing that forces us to find a new way forward. That's the essence of the backup strategy. It's not about giving up when things get hard, but about finding another route to success. The obstacle itself becomes part of your path, shaping your growth and resilience. In modern life, we often face moments where our plans fall apart. Maybe you've been working toward a promotion at your job, only to be passed over for someone else. Or perhaps you've poured time and energy into building a relationship that suddenly falls apart. It's easy to feel defeated in those moments, like the world is conspiring against you. But here's where the backup strategy comes into play. When you hit a wall, do you stop, or do you find another way to move forward? Consider the story of Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks. He pitched his idea for expanding the company's cafe model to more than 200 investors, and almost all of them turned him down. Many people would have given up after that much rejection, but Schultz didn't. Instead, he reevaluated his strategy, refined his pitch, and eventually succeeded. His success wasn't because everything went smoothly, but because he had the mental resilience to keep going, to see each setback as an opportunity to learn and adjust. That's the power of a backup strategy. It's not about having a perfect plan. It's about being flexible enough to keep moving forward no matter what happens. But this idea extends beyond just business or professional life. In personal relationships, the backup strategy is just as crucial. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, things don't work out with the people we care about. Breakups happen, friendships drift apart, and we're left feeling like we've failed. But Stoicism teaches us that failure is just part of the process. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." When a relationship ends, it's natural to feel hurt, but it's also a moment to reflect and grow. Instead of letting the pain overwhelm you, consider what you've learned from the experience. How can you use that knowledge to improve yourself or your future relationships? The backup strategy here isn't about avoiding emotional pain. It's about building the emotional resilience to handle it and come out stronger on the other side. Now let me ask you, how do you handle setbacks in your own life? Do you find yourself dwelling on the things you can't control, or do you shift your focus to what you can change? It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment, but the Stoic way is to break that cycle by adjusting your perspective. When something goes wrong, don't view it as a dead end. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do differently? What's my next step? This mindset shift is at the core of the Stoic backup strategy. It's about taking control of your reactions, even when the situation is beyond your control. In doing so, you regain your sense of agency and power. There's also a deeper layer to this strategy that goes beyond planning for specific setbacks. It's about cultivating the mental strength to expect the unexpected. Life will always throw curveballs. It's inevitable. But by preparing yourself mentally, you'll be ready to handle whatever comes your way. This doesn't mean becoming pessimistic or expecting failure at every turn. It means being realistic and understanding that life is full of twists and turns. When you accept this, you stop being surprised by challenges and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. Let's recap the key takeaway. The Stoic backup strategy isn't about having a perfect plan for every possible scenario. It's about developing the mental flexibility to adapt when things go wrong. Life is unpredictable, and while we can't control everything, we can control how we respond. Whether in your career, relationships, or personal growth, the backup strategy is your tool for resilience. Remember the words of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what's my backup strategy? How can I turn this obstacle into an opportunity? With this mindset, you'll not only overcome life's challenges, but you'll thrive because of them. 3. Acquire, apply, master. Let's talk about the 3-step process that can transform your journey from failure to success. Acquire, apply, and master. These 3 actions are essential if you want to truly embrace Stoic principles and achieve real growth in your life. First, you need to acquire knowledge. It's easy to get stuck in failure if you don't know where you went wrong, so this step involves learning everything you can about your situation. Maybe you've heard the famous quote by Epictetus. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. What he's saying is that to acquire knowledge, you must first acknowledge that you don't have all the answers. Whether it's learning from books, mentors, or your past mistakes, it's crucial to absorb new information with an open mind. But here's the important part. Acquiring knowledge isn't enough on its own. We live in a world where information is everywhere, but without applying what you've learned, it remains just words on a page. That leads us to the second step. Apply. How often have you read a self-help book or listened to a motivational speaker, feeling inspired, but then didn't actually take action? It's easy to fall into that trap. You might know what you need to do, but the real test is applying that knowledge in your daily life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is a call to action. Knowing what you should do and actually doing it are two very different things. Take what you've learned and start putting it into practice, no matter how small the steps. If you're looking to improve your career, apply the lessons you've acquired, whether it's refining your skills, improving communication, or developing better work habits. The same goes for your personal life. Have you learned the importance of patience and mindfulness? Then start practicing it in your interactions. When you apply knowledge, you begin to turn it into experience, and experience is what allows you to grow. But it doesn't end there. Once you've started applying what you've learned, the final step is to master it. Mastery is what separates those who simply try from those who succeed. And here's the thing. Mastery doesn't happen overnight. Seneca wisely said, "While we wait for life, life passes." This speaks to the importance of consistency and patience. Mastering any skill, whether it's Stoic principles, professional expertise, or personal growth, requires time and persistence. It means repeating the actions you've applied, refining them, and pushing through when things get tough. If you've ever tried to master anything, you know there will be moments when you want to quit, when the progress seems too slow or the effort too great. But here's a question for you. Are you willing to endure discomfort in order to achieve mastery? Are you prepared to keep going when others would stop? Mastery isn't just about being good at something. It's about continuously striving to improve, even after you've seen success. Now let's relate this process to modern life. Think of a successful entrepreneur, someone like Elon Musk. He didn't just acquire knowledge about technology and business. He applied that knowledge by launching companies like Tesla and SpaceX. But what sets him apart is his pursuit of mastery. Musk didn't stop once he built a successful company. He pushed the boundaries, constantly learning and refining his approach. He applied knowledge, learned from his failures, and kept moving forward, which ultimately led to mastery in his field. In your own life, whether you're aiming for personal, professional, or spiritual growth, this same process applies. You must acquire the right knowledge, apply it in your daily actions, and work towards mastering it over time. But let me ask you, where are you in this process? Have you acquired the knowledge you need to succeed? Or are you stuck at the first step? Maybe you've been hesitant to apply what you've learned because it feels risky or uncomfortable. Or perhaps you've started applying it, but now you're facing the real challenge, pushing through to mastery. Wherever you are, remember that failure isn't the end. It's just part of the process. You don't have to have it all figured out right away, but you do need to keep moving forward. As you reflect on this, think about the areas in your life where you can take action today. What have you learned that you haven't yet applied? And if you've already applied it, how can you refine your approach to reach mastery? The journey from failure to success isn't linear. It's filled with setbacks and moments of doubt. But that's where the Stoic mindset comes into play. When things get tough, when you feel like giving up, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This means that every challenge you face, every obstacle in your path, is an opportunity for growth. Use these challenges to sharpen your skills, to refine your approach, and to continue on your journey to mastery. Whether you're trying to improve your career, relationships, or inner self, know that the process of acquire, apply, and master is always at play. And the best part? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to keep going. So what's the next step you'll take in your journey? 4. Your approach to one thing reflects all. How you do anything is how you do everything. This quote may sound simple, but it carries a profound truth that can change your perspective on life. Think about it for a moment. Whether it's in your career, personal relationships, or even the small, mundane activities of daily life, the attitude and effort you bring to one area often mirrors how you handle everything else. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He emphasized that our actions, no matter how small, are a reflection of who we are, and how we act in one situation often reveals how we will act in many others. So today, let's explore how your approach to one thing reflects your approach to all, and how mastering this mindset can lead to personal growth and success in every area of life. Let's start with the concept that every action you take, no matter how insignificant it may seem, contributes to the person you are becoming. If you consistently cut corners in small tasks, how likely are you to put in full effort when bigger opportunities arise? If you don't put your best foot forward in your day-to-day activities, whether it's how you treat the people around you or how you take care of your own responsibilities, you might find it difficult to show up fully in the moments that matter the most. The Stoics believe that excellence is not something you turn on and off like a light switch. It's something you cultivate in every action, every moment. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit, as Aristotle famously said. If you want to succeed in life, you must start by adopting a mindset of excellence in all things, even the smallest tasks. Think of it this way. How do you approach your morning routine? Do you rush through it, doing the bare minimum just to get by? Or do you approach each step with intention and mindfulness, knowing that how you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows? The way you begin your day can reflect how you handle larger aspects of your life. If you're careless or inattentive in the little things, that attitude will spill over into your work, your relationships, and your goals. This is why the Stoics believed in living with purpose and mindfulness. Seneca advised, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." In other words, when you spread yourself too thin, multitask, or do things half-heartedly, you achieve little and miss the deeper value in every experience. Focus and attention in every action lead to mastery and fulfillment. Now, let's look at this in a modern context. Let's say you're working on a project at your job. You know it's not the most important project on your plate, so you don't give it your best effort. You meet the bare minimum requirements and move on to the next task. But here's the thing. This approach sets a pattern. Soon this becomes your way of dealing with all tasks, even the ones that are critical to your success. If you don't value the small tasks, how can you expect to excel when the big opportunities come your way? Success doesn't happen in one grand moment. It's built in the small, everyday actions that seem insignificant, but ultimately shape who you are and how you operate. The same is true for relationships. If you aren't putting effort into communicating effectively or showing appreciation for the people you care about, that neglect will manifest in other areas of your personal life as well. Over time, this will erode the very foundation of those relationships. Here's a question for you. Are you giving your best to the things you might consider small or trivial? Take a moment to reflect on your current habits. Are you truly present when talking to a loved one, or are you distracted? Do you give your all in the gym, or are you just going through the motions? This is where the Stoic philosophy can be applied directly. If you want to improve your overall life, start by improving how you approach the little things. Whether it's washing the dishes or leading a team at work, the energy and mindset you bring to the task will shape your character. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the importance of doing things well, especially when we're bombarded with so many demands and distractions. But what would happen if you shifted your perspective and treated every task, every interaction, as an opportunity to practice excellence? Imagine how much more present, intentional, and focused you would be. This approach not only makes you more effective in your daily life, but also fosters a deep sense of personal satisfaction. When you give your best in everything you do, success becomes a natural byproduct. The Stoics were masters of this idea. They knew that controlling our actions and reactions, no matter the situation, leads to a fulfilled and balanced life. So, how does your approach to one thing reflect everything in your life? It all comes down to the habits you build. If you consistently show up with care, attention, and integrity in the small moments, you'll find that you naturally do the same in the larger, more significant ones. This is the essence of mastering yourself. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. In other words, decide the kind of person you want to be, and then act like that person in every situation, no matter how big or small. Think about how you approach every aspect of your life. Are you living with purpose, or are you just going through the motions? Remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you want to reach success, don't just wait for the big moments to show up. Practice excellence in the small everyday actions, and watch how it transforms every area of your life. By committing to this approach, you will not only improve your life, but also inspire those around you to do the same. Thank you so much for being here and joining me in today's video. I truly appreciate your time and support. Here's a question for you. What has been your biggest lesson from overcoming failure, and how did Stoic principles help you in that process? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you're not sure what to write, feel free to share a simple comment like, "Stoicism helped me by reminding me to focus on what I can control." I look forward to reading your insights. 5. Signs of a fulfilling existence. Let's talk about what it truly means to live a fulfilling life. So many of us chase success, money, and status, believing these are the signs that we've made it. But is that really what a fulfilling existence looks like? Stoicism, one of the most practical philosophies of ancient times, offers us a different view on what it means to be truly fulfilled. It doesn't revolve around material wealth or fame. Instead, it centers on values like inner peace, virtue, and contributing to something greater than yourself. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." So today we're going to explore the true signs of a fulfilling existence and how you can shift your focus to live a life that's meaningful, not just successful by society's standards. One of the key signs of a fulfilling life is contentment. Not the kind of fleeting happiness that comes from external sources like a new job or material possession, but a deeper sense of satisfaction that comes from within. Stoicism teaches us that contentment isn't about getting everything you want but learning to want less. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This quote captures the essence of Stoic wisdom. True fulfillment comes from mastering your desires, not from accumulating more. Have you ever noticed that the more we chase after things, whether it's a new promotion, a bigger house, or more recognition, the more we feel like we're lacking something? That's because external achievements can never fully satisfy our internal desires. The Stoics remind us that fulfillment is found when we can be happy with what we have, in this present moment. But contentment is just one aspect of a fulfilling life. Another crucial element is living in alignment with your values. It's easy to get caught up in what society tells you should matter: wealth, power, success. But Stoicism urges us to define our own values and live by them, regardless of external pressures. What do you truly stand for? Is it kindness, integrity, or perhaps wisdom? When your actions align with your core values, you experience a sense of purpose that money or status can never provide. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This statement speaks directly to the idea that those who constantly chase after more, without grounding themselves in meaningful values, will always feel like something is missing. So ask yourself, are you living a life that reflects what truly matters to you? Or are you caught up in someone else's definition of success? Let's bring this concept into the context of modern life. Think about someone like Warren Buffett. He's one of the wealthiest men in the world, but if you look at how he lives, it's incredibly simple. He's been known to live in the same modest house for decades, drive a humble car, and focus on what brings him true fulfillment, investing in businesses that make a difference and giving back to the world through philanthropy. His life is a perfect example of how living in alignment with your values leads to long-term satisfaction, rather than constantly chasing after more. While many people in his position might indulge in luxury, Buffett stays true to his belief in simplicity and purpose. This teaches us that it's not about what you have, but how you live and what you contribute to the world that ultimately defines your fulfillment. Another sign of a fulfilling existence is having meaningful relationships. Stoicism teaches us that we are social creatures by nature, and the quality of our relationships plays a big role in our overall sense of well-being. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently reflected on how much he valued the people around him and how important it was to treat others with respect and empathy. Treat them as they deserve, with kindness and with patience, he wrote, understanding that a life lived in harmony with others contributes to inner peace. But in today's fast-paced world, it's easy to take relationships for granted. We get so caught up in work, technology, and our personal ambitions that we forget to nurture the connections that truly matter. Have you ever noticed how much better you feel after a meaningful conversation with a friend or spending time with family? It's a reminder that the people in our lives are not distractions from success, but a key part of what makes life fulfilling. So how are you investing in the relationships that matter to you? Are you prioritizing the people who bring value and depth to your life? Or are you letting those relationships fall by the wayside in pursuit of other goals? A fulfilling life isn't just about personal achievements. It's about the connections you build with others and the support and love you share. After all, when we reach the end of our lives, it's often the relationships we look back on with the most pride and joy, not the accomplishments. Lastly, a truly fulfilling life involves contributing to something greater than yourself. This could be through your work, your community, or your personal passions. The Stoics believed that we all have a duty to contribute to society and leave the world a little better than we found it. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to always act in the service of others, writing, "What we do now echoes in eternity." In modern life, this could mean volunteering, mentoring someone who needs guidance, or simply finding ways to make a positive impact through your everyday actions. The idea is that fulfillment doesn't come from self-centered goals alone, but from knowing that your life has added value to the lives of others. 6. The Wellspring of Virtue. Let's talk about something that runs deeper than external success, fame, or wealth. Something that is at the core of living a life of true fulfillment: virtue. The Stoics believed that virtue was the wellspring from which all good things in life flow. But what exactly does this mean? To put it simply, virtue is about living with integrity, wisdom, courage, and self-control. It's about striving to be the best version of yourself, not for applause or recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. In a world obsessed with results and material success, virtue is often overlooked. But as the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, virtue is nothing else than right reason. It's the quiet strength that allows you to keep going when everything around you falls apart. So today, let's dive into the wellspring of virtue and explore how living with moral character can be the most powerful key to moving from failure to success, not just in terms of external achievements, but in the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life. When we think about success, most of us immediately imagine material accomplishments, landing that big promotion, making a lot of money, or receiving recognition for our work. But Stoicism asks us to look beyond those external markers and focus on something far more important: our character. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, often reminded himself that the only thing within his control was how he chose to act. "You have power over your mind, not outside events," he famously said. This is the essence of virtue, understanding that true success is not measured by what happens to you, but by how you respond. When you face setbacks, challenges, or even failure, the way you react reveals the strength of your character. Are you able to remain calm under pressure? Do you act with integrity even when no one is watching? These are the real tests of success, and they come not from external achievements but from the wellspring of virtue within. Virtue is about more than just knowing what's right. It's about consistently doing what's right, even when it's difficult. Think about how often in life we're faced with decisions where the easy path isn't the virtuous one. Maybe it's easier to lie to avoid confrontation, or maybe cutting corners at work seems like a quicker way to success. But the Stoics believed that shortcuts, dishonesty, or unethical actions, no matter how tempting, ultimately erode our sense of self and long-term happiness. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In other words, a life driven by desire for external rewards without attention to virtue will never feel truly satisfying. What matters is the internal compass that guides your decisions, not the temporary success you might gain from taking the easy way out. So, ask yourself, when you're faced with a tough decision, are you choosing the path of virtue, or are you letting convenience dictate your actions? Let's bring this idea into a more modern context. Consider someone like Nelson Mandela. He faced years of imprisonment and tremendous personal sacrifice, yet he remained steadfast in his commitment to justice and equality. It would have been easy for him to become bitter or to give up on his principles, but instead, he held on to his sense of virtue, even when the world around him was unjust. And in the end, his unwavering dedication to what was right, despite overwhelming adversity, not only brought him personal success, but changed the course of history for an entire nation. This is the power of virtue. It doesn't just impact your own life, it can inspire and uplift others. When you live with integrity, people notice. And while they might not see the struggle or the tough decisions behind your actions, they will see the strength of your character shining through. But virtue isn't just about grand, historical examples. It's something we can practice every day, in small ways that build up over time. Think about the relationships in your life. Do you show up for the people you care about, even when it's inconvenient? Do you act with kindness, patience, and empathy, even when you're frustrated or busy? These are opportunities to tap into the wellspring of virtue. The Stoics taught that we should always aim to treat others with respect and compassion because how we treat people is a reflection of who we are. And here's the truth. Success in relationships, whether it's with a partner, friends, or colleagues, is not about what you can get from them. It's about how you contribute to their lives. Are you a source of support, kindness, and integrity for those around you? Now let me ask you, how do you define success in your own life? Is it purely based on external achievements like career milestones, financial success, or public recognition? Or do you see success as something more personal, more rooted in your character and how you live your life day by day? The Stoics remind us that true success is not something you can measure with awards or bank accounts. It's something you carry within yourself, a quiet, steady confidence that comes from knowing you're living with virtue, regardless of the outcomes. As you reflect on this, consider the areas of your life where you can align more with Stoic virtue. How can you show more courage, wisdom, and integrity, not just when things are going well, but when life gets hard? Remember that the wellspring of virtue is always within your reach. It's not something that depends on circumstances, status, or wealth. It's something you can cultivate every single day in every decision you make. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you focus on living a life of virtue, the kind of success that truly matters, inner peace, strong relationships, and a sense of purpose, will follow. So the next time you face a challenge, instead of focusing on the external outcome, ask yourself, am I acting in accordance with my values? Am I staying true to my sense of virtue? By doing so, you'll not only move closer to success, but you'll also live a life that is deeply fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with your highest self. 7. Excellence over abundance. Let's dive into a critical concept that often gets lost in today's world of more. Excellence over abundance. In a society that constantly pushes the idea that success means having more money, more possessions, more followers, the Stoic philosophy teaches us the opposite. It reminds us that a life well lived is not about abundance in material wealth, but about the pursuit of excellence in all that you do. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This simple yet profound truth is something many of us struggle with, especially in a world where we're encouraged to measure success by the numbers in our bank accounts or the size of our homes. But what if we shifted our focus? What if, instead of chasing after more, we focused on doing the few things we choose to pursue with real excellence? This is the key to true fulfillment, and it's what we'll explore in today's journey from failure to success, using the timeless lessons of Stoicism. Excellence, in the Stoic sense, isn't about perfection. It's about putting your best effort into everything you do, whether it's a small task or a large endeavor. It's the practice of striving for mastery, not for external validation, but for the intrinsic value that comes with knowing you gave your all. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, often reflected on this idea. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop debating what success looks like or how to achieve it, and instead focus on being excellent in your thoughts, actions, and choices right now. The Stoics didn't believe in measuring success by external accomplishments. They believed that true success lies in the pursuit of virtue and in how you approach the tasks before you. This mindset shift is important because it changes how we define what it means to live a successful life. Rather than accumulating things, we should aim to cultivate qualities like integrity, wisdom, and discipline. These are the hallmarks of excellence, and they have far more lasting value than any material possession. Let's think about this in the context of modern life. Many people work tirelessly to climb the corporate ladder, believing that the next promotion, the bigger paycheck, or the corner office will finally bring them happiness. But how often do we hear stories of successful executives or entrepreneurs who, after achieving everything they thought they wanted, still feel unfulfilled? The reason is simple. Abundance doesn't guarantee contentment. You can have all the wealth in the world, but without a sense of purpose, mastery, or excellence in what you do, it will never feel like enough. This is where Stoicism offers a valuable perspective. Instead of chasing after more, focus on doing what you do well. Whether it's your career, relationships, or personal development, strive for quality over quantity. Excellence in one area of your life will always be more rewarding than superficial success across many areas. A powerful example of this principle is Steve Jobs. Known for his relentless focus on excellence, Jobs wasn't interested in creating 1,000 different products or being everything to everyone. Instead, he focused on creating a few truly remarkable products, like the iPhone, which revolutionized industries. His obsession with craftsmanship and doing things exceptionally well, rather than trying to do everything, is a perfect illustration of the Stoic idea of excellence over abundance. Jobs didn't measure success by how many products Apple had. He measured it by how transformative they were. This is a lesson we can all apply in our own lives. You don't need to do 100 things to be successful. You need to do a few things with excellence. So, how can we apply this philosophy of excellence over abundance in our daily lives? Start by reassessing your priorities. Are you spreading yourself too thin, trying to juggle too many projects or goals? If so, it might be time to simplify. Instead of chasing after multiple achievements, Pick a few areas that truly matter to you and commit to doing them well. This could be your career, a personal passion, or even the way you nurture your relationships. When you focus on fewer things, you can dedicate more time, energy, and attention to doing them excellently. The result is not only a higher quality of work or output, but also a deeper sense of satisfaction and purpose. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This quote reminds us that the path to excellence often requires sacrifice, including the sacrifice of abundance. You might have to let go of the idea of doing it all, and that's okay. Think about a typical day in your life. How much of your time is spent on tasks that don't align with your values or bring you closer to your goals? If you're constantly chasing more, whether it's more money, more possessions, or even more experiences, you may find yourself feeling scattered and dissatisfied. Instead, take a step back and focus on doing fewer things, but doing them with excellence. This doesn't just apply to your professional life, it applies to every aspect of who you are. How do you show up in your relationships? Are you giving your loved ones your full attention, or are you distracted by the next goal? The Stoics teach us that excellence is a way of life, not just something we apply to work. It's about being fully present in whatever you're doing, whether it's a conversation with a friend, a workout, or a challenging project at work. Another key aspect of this philosophy is learning to appreciate the process rather than focusing solely on the outcome. The pursuit of excellence is not about achieving perfection, but about the joy of constantly improving, refining, and growing. In today's fast-paced world, we often want instant results and immediate rewards. But true mastery, whether it's in your craft, relationships, or personal growth, takes time and patience. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Excellence requires the courage to stick with something long enough to get really good at it, even when the results aren't immediately apparent. Remember that the pursuit of abundance without excellence is a hollow victory. Success is not about accumulating more, it's about doing what you do with real quality, care, and attention. The Stoics remind us that the key to a fulfilling life is not in having more, but in being better at what we choose to do. So, as you move forward in your journey from failure to success, ask yourself, are you pursuing abundance, or are you committed to excellence? The choice is yours, but only one path leads to lasting fulfillment. If you've made it this far, you're already embracing the path from failure to success. Drop a comment saying, "I rise stronger," to show you're committed to mastering Stoic principles. Stay with us, your journey is just beginning. 8. Everyday acts of bravery. Let's explore a type of bravery that often goes unnoticed yet plays a crucial role in our daily lives. Everyday acts of bravery. When we think about bravery, we often imagine grand gestures, soldiers on the battlefield, first responders rushing into danger, or individuals making life-changing sacrifices. But what about the quiet, uncelebrated courage we all need to summon just to get through our day-to-day challenges? Stoicism teaches us that bravery isn't reserved for extraordinary moments. It's a quality that we can, and should, cultivate in our everyday lives. As Seneca wisely said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And this resonates with many of us, particularly when we're navigating life's difficulties, whether it's a tough conversation with a boss, dealing with personal loss, or simply showing up for ourselves and others when we feel like giving up. Let's take a step back and recognize that everyday acts of bravery don't have to involve life or death situations. They are found in small but significant choices, like standing up for what you believe in, even when it's uncomfortable, or facing a difficult situation head-on instead of avoiding it. Stoic philosophy reminds us that bravery is about mastering our fears, not necessarily eliminating them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, The obstacles we face can become opportunities to exercise courage and grow. Everyday bravery might look like having that difficult conversation with your spouse instead of avoiding the issue, or deciding to pursue a new career path despite your fear of failure. These are the moments where true character is built, and they often go unnoticed by the outside world. In modern life, everyday acts of bravery are essential for personal growth and success. Think about someone who starts their own business. It's easy to romanticize entrepreneurship, but the reality is that it takes incredible courage to leave a stable job, face financial uncertainty, and put yourself out there in a competitive market. Take the story of Elon Musk, for example. Before Musk became the billionaire we all know today, he faced countless challenges. He invested all his money into his companies, risking everything he had. His decision to keep pushing forward when things seemed bleak is a perfect example of everyday bravery in action. Musk didn't wait for the perfect moment or conditions. He faced his fears head-on, knowing that the only way to achieve his goals was to take risks. This is something we can all learn from. Bravery isn't about waiting for a fearless moment. It's about taking action despite the fear. Let me ask you, where in your life are you avoiding courage? What small acts of bravery could you begin practicing today? Maybe it's in your personal relationships, choosing to be vulnerable with a friend or partner, or perhaps it's in your professional life, where you need to advocate for yourself more confidently. Everyday bravery is also about the willingness to be wrong or admit when you've made a mistake. How many times do we shy away from difficult conversations or situations because we fear judgment or rejection? The Stoics encourage us to face these moments with honesty and strength. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So bravery isn't about controlling the outcome. It's about controlling your response. It's about choosing to act with integrity, even when the outcome is uncertain. Bravery also manifests in resilience. Life is full of setbacks, and how we respond to failure can be one of the most telling signs of our courage. Whether it's a failed business venture, a relationship that didn't work out, or a personal goal that feels just out of reach, it takes bravery to pick yourself up and try again. This is the kind of courage that isn't often talked about, but is absolutely critical for long-term success. We all face moments where it feels easier to quit, to avoid trying again, or to settle for less. But the Stoic way teaches us that the path to success is often paved with failures, and it's our ability to keep moving forward that defines us. The great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded us that our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. This means that even when external circumstances block our progress, we can always choose to keep moving mentally and emotionally. This, too, is bravery. Let's not forget that everyday bravery can also be about the courage to live authentically. It takes real strength to be yourself in a world that constantly pressures you to conform. Whether it's expressing your true opinions, making choices that align with your values, or refusing to follow the crowd when it goes against your beliefs, living authentically is a daily act of bravery. Think about the people you admire the most. Chances are, they're not the ones who play it safe or fit neatly into societal expectations. They're the ones who dare to be different, who challenge the status quo, and who live by their own principles, even when it's difficult. In your own life, where can you start practicing everyday bravery? It doesn't have to be a massive change all at once. Start small. It could be something as simple as speaking up in a meeting when you have a different opinion, or reaching out to someone you've lost touch with even though it feels awkward. Each act of bravery, no matter how small, strengthens your ability to handle bigger challenges down the road. As you continue to make these courageous choices, you'll find that bravery becomes a habit, one that allows you to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life with greater confidence and peace of mind. Everyday acts of bravery are the building blocks of a meaningful life. They may not make headlines or win you awards, but they are what define your character and set you on the path to long-term success and fulfillment. Whether it's facing difficult emotions, standing up for what you believe in, or simply choosing to keep going when things get tough, bravery is something you can cultivate in every aspect of your life. So, ask yourself, where can you be braver today? What small act of courage can you practice that will make a big difference over time? The more you embrace these everyday moments of bravery, the more you'll discover that courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one choice at a time. 9. Positive routines replace negative patterns. Let's talk about a concept that can truly transform your life. Positive routines replacing negative patterns. We all have habits, some of which are helpful and push us forward, while others hold us back, keeping us stuck in the same unproductive cycles. Whether it's hitting the snooze button too many times, procrastinating on important tasks, or reacting emotionally when things don't go your way, negative patterns can take over without you even realizing it. But here's the good news. Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to break those patterns and replace them with positive routines that lead us toward a better life. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, to become the person you want to be, you need to establish the right habits. And that starts with identifying the negative patterns holding you back and taking intentional steps to change them. So how do you start? It begins with awareness. Most of us don't even realize how often we engage in habits that sabotage our success. Think about your daily routine. How many of your actions are on autopilot? Maybe you reach for your phone the moment you wake up, scrolling through social media before you've even had a moment to breathe, or you avoid difficult tasks until the last minute, creating unnecessary stress. These are examples of negative patterns that don't serve you, but the Stoics remind us that we have the ability to take control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote emphasizes that while we can't always control external circumstances, we do have full control over our reactions and choices. By becoming aware of the habits that are dragging you down, you take the first step toward change. But awareness alone isn't enough. Once you've identified a negative pattern, you need to replace it with a positive routine. For example, if you're someone who constantly puts off important tasks, try setting aside a specific time each day to tackle the most challenging ones first. This is often referred to as eating the frog, getting the hardest thing out of the way early so the rest of the day feels easier. Over time, this new routine becomes automatic, and the old pattern of procrastination starts to fade. The key is consistency. Aristotle famously said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This is crucial because it reminds us that success doesn't come from a single great effort, but from the small, repeated actions we take every day. Whether it's waking up early, exercising, or setting clear goals, the routines you build today shape the person you become tomorrow. Let's take a real-world example to illustrate this. Think of someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Known for his intense work ethic and disciplined routines, Johnson didn't achieve success by accident. His daily habits, waking up early, working out consistently, and staying focused on his goals, are what helped him transition from a struggling athlete to one of the most successful actors and entrepreneurs in the world. He's often spoken about the importance of building positive routines and how they've been key to his success. His story teaches us that success isn't about talent alone. It's about the habits you develop and the discipline to stick with them, even when it's difficult. Now, think about your own life. What are the negative patterns holding you back? And what positive routines could you put in their place? Maybe you struggle with staying focused throughout the day, constantly getting distracted by emails, social media, or other tasks. A simple routine like time blocking, dedicating specific periods of your day to focus on one task without interruptions, could drastically improve your productivity. Or maybe you have a habit of letting negative thoughts control your mood. A positive routine like practicing daily gratitude could help shift your mindset, focusing on what's going right rather than what's going wrong. Stoicism teaches us that our thoughts and actions are interconnected, and by changing our actions, we can influence our thoughts. This is why building positive routines is so powerful. It not only changes what you do, but also how you think. But let's be real. Change is hard. Breaking negative patterns and replacing them with positive routines requires effort and patience. You won't see results overnight, and there will be times when you slip back into old habits. This is where resilience comes in, another core teaching of Stoicism. As Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Every time you encounter a setback, whether it's missing a workout or falling back into procrastination, see it as an opportunity to strengthen your resolve. The Stoics believed that failure is a part of the process, not the end of it. So instead of beating yourself up when you make a mistake, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? This mindset of continuous improvement is what ultimately leads to long-term success. So, where can you start? The first step is to choose one negative pattern you want to change. It doesn't have to be something huge. Start small. Maybe it's committing to drinking more water each day or spending 10 minutes meditating before bed. The key is to be consistent. Over time, these small positive routines will add up, and you'll find that the negative patterns begin to lose their grip. It's like building a muscle. Every time you choose the positive routine over the negative pattern, you get stronger, more disciplined, and more in control of your life. The journey from failure to success isn't about massive overnight changes. It's about the small, consistent steps you take each day to replace negative patterns with positive routines. Remember, as Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." So be patient with yourself. Focus on progress, not perfection, and over time, you'll see how these positive routines transform your life, bringing you closer to the success and fulfillment you've been striving for. What small change can you make today to begin replacing negative patterns in your life? Start there and watch how it grows. 10. Frenemies. Managing deceptive friendships. The concept of a frenemy, a friend who is also an enemy, can be difficult to navigate because these relationships often blur the lines between genuine connection and toxic competition. It's not always easy to recognize when someone in your life is undermining your success, masking their ill intentions with superficial kindness. Yet, as the Stoics teach us, managing these deceptive friendships is essential to maintaining a balanced and fulfilling life. As Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." In today's discussion, we'll explore how to identify frenemies and, more importantly, how to manage these relationships in a way that protects your peace of mind and personal growth. One of the first signs of a frenemy is the subtle undermining of your achievements. Have you ever had a friend who, instead of celebrating your success, downplays it or makes backhanded compliments? This is a classic behavior of someone who feels threatened by your progress. Instead of encouraging your growth, they disguise their jealousy with sarcasm or even passive-aggressive comments. For instance, you might tell them about a promotion at work, and instead of congratulating you, they respond with something like, "Must be nice to get lucky." They're not genuinely happy for you, they're uncomfortable with your success because it highlights their own insecurities. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This advice serves as a reminder to surround yourself with people who are focused on personal growth and self-improvement, rather than those who are consumed by comparison and competition. In modern life, frenemies often appear in social settings, at work, in your friend group, or even within your family. These relationships can drain your energy because you're constantly second-guessing their intentions. One minute they're offering support. The next, they're undermining your confidence. It's a roller coaster of emotional manipulation. And the problem is, this inconsistency keeps you in a state of uncertainty, unsure whether you can truly trust them. This is where Stoicism becomes especially helpful. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others behave, but we can control how we respond. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." If a relationship is causing you to question your worth or is filled with emotional games, it's time to reassess the role that person plays in your life. A true friend lifts you up and encourages you to be your best, while a frenemy keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and frustration. Another key trait of a frenemy is competitiveness, disguised as camaraderie. These individuals often try to one-up you, turning every conversation into a competition. If you share something positive happening in your life, they immediately shift the focus back to themselves, making you feel like your accomplishments are insignificant. Have you ever had a conversation where you felt like you were constantly being compared to someone else, with your so-called friend always trying to prove they're better or more successful? This behavior is toxic and erodes the trust and openness that define a healthy friendship. Epictetus offers timeless wisdom here. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. This means that while you can't stop a frenemy from competing with you, you can choose not to engage in their games, refuse to play by their rules. Instead, focus on your own journey and progress. It's important to ask yourself, how do these relationships make you feel? Do you leave interactions feeling drained, anxious, or belittled? True friendships should leave you feeling supported and empowered, not diminished. Stoicism encourages us to practice self-awareness and emotional resilience. If you notice that certain people in your life consistently make you feel less than or unworthy, it's time to set boundaries. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting people off abruptly or with hostility. It means clearly defining what behavior you will and won't tolerate. By doing this, you're protecting your emotional well-being and ensuring that you have the energy to focus on the relationships that truly matter. But managing frenemies isn't just about avoiding or cutting ties. It's about cultivating inner strength and practicing forgiveness without allowing yourself to be mistreated. The Stoics taught that harboring resentment only harms you in the end. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, don't allow yourself to sink to the level of a frenemy's pettiness or toxicity. Instead, rise above it by continuing to live with integrity and purpose. Acknowledge their behavior, but don't let it dictate your emotions or actions. The goal is not to eliminate all negativity from your life, because that's impossible, but to minimize its influence by focusing on your values and personal growth. Take a moment to reflect. Are there people in your life who consistently make you question your worth? Do you find yourself walking on eggshells, fearing their criticism or judgment? If so, it's time to reevaluate those relationships. Stoicism teaches us to be intentional about the people we surround ourselves with, and that includes removing or distancing ourselves from those who don't contribute positively to our lives. It's not always easy, especially when the person in question has been part of your life for a long time. But remember, maintaining your mental and emotional health is more important than keeping toxic relationships out of a sense of obligation or nostalgia. As we come to the end of this journey from failure to success, let's reflect on the powerful lessons we've discussed today. Life is full of challenges, but with a Stoic mindset, each obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth and strength. Remember, success isn't just about the end goal. It's about how you respond to setbacks, learn from them, and continue to push forward with resilience and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let this quote remind you that every difficulty is a stepping stone to success. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more practical Stoic tips that will help you on your journey. and make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an upcoming video. Together, we'll continue to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.